this is, again, great for the NBA.
And we've said that from the jump. You can't trust this team.
He's not going to do a damn thing. Khris Middleton reminds me of Paul Pierce a lot.
You were talking an awful lot about these losers. Middleton is the real MVP. When they make a shrine to all the great Chris's in the world. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Please Dunk Responsibly, a basketball and beer podcast. We're going to compare players to beers, teams to breweries. It's going to be great. We're going to be talking about the NBA Finals. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Rice. With me, as always, my co-host,
Phil Webster. Yes, super exciting. We finally have our teams after all this time.
Yeah.
This is insane. Obviously we got it right from the get-go. This is what we said.
Yep. And then we kept flipping and flopping, and then we were right the whole time. We're like, I don't know, maybe we were wrong.
And they might have both backed in, and everybody got hurt and everything. But we finally have our finals teams.
Like, it was so insane that for a moment we doubted our belief that Middleton is the real MVP. We thought that for a second because he had one bad half. And we're like, maybe he doesn't got it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. He had one bad game. And again, if he doesn't hit the shots early on, they need him more. Now, don't get me wrong. Drew Holiday played amazing the last two games. Defensively, poking steals, playing defense on pretty much everybody. Yeah, that guy, he fits. He made more sense to me than I even realized for that team. And I think he's still trying to figure out what he needs to do to really enforce his will, because you just have all those pieces and parts where he was just trying to get the ball to Giannis and think all the time. And now I feel like it's like a freer flowing team without him. Not to say, obviously, Giannis isn't a great player. It's just the fit is just different. They're playing more traditional. Like with having a 4 who is really a 5, can't shoot a whole lot, so it's like,
and it turns your 5 that you made a 3 back into a 5. It turns out Brook Lopez still a beast down low. Like,
yeah, exactly. He became the beast. He just doesn't play that anymore because you have
even
Giannis
rebounding, a thing he was known to not really do when he was a post beast. He still wasn't a good rebounder.
No, it seemed he very, very comfortable. As if you guys can't tell, obviously by listening to this, you already know the Bucks defeated the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games in Atlanta. They finished them off. It was close at halftime. It started off at 4 points, I think they got it down to. And then
the third quarter was not great.
Then Khris Middleton found the basket. He was like, I think 3 of 8 to start the game. And then in the second half, I think he made like 3 out of 4 first shots, 3 of them being 3-pointers. And then it was just bye-bye Atlanta. They got within like 8, I think, 8 or 9.
Yeah, they got within 8 towards the end, but they were down 20 with 9 to go. And I was like, hey, all you got to do is outscore them by 1 basket a minute, and you're right back in this thing. And in the first minute, they outscored them by 2 baskets. I'm like, look at you. You're doubling what you need to do. You got this thing. This is in the bag. Send it. Game 7. Here we come. Even though I knew that was not going to hold up.
They got
it down to like 6 or 7.
They got the normal run you get in the NBA where it's like that's how you get back into it, is that you get that 10 to 12 point run, and then they got close, but then
back making threes.
Yeah, like they couldn't make it. The Bucks were as frustrating as ever in the first half. They were doing the opposite of what they did to win Game 6, which was shoot threes and brick them in the first half. Even though I get during the season, I think they were like a 34% 3-point shooting team, which isn't bad. That's above average. You're not obviously the Warriors. But in game 5 that they won, I think they only shot like 10 3-pointers or 12, like very little. And then they just let Brook Lopez and Middleton just stayed inside.
Yeah, and scored like 80 points or some garbage, like 70 points or something like that. Just
they were nuts. Everybody had like 30 or 20.
I think they missed. They were like 33 for 38 inside of 5 feet. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, they could not be stopped. And they basically did what we thought they were going to do in that series. As much as we liked Atlanta, they were exciting. They were just so undersized
and
that
inconsistent. No defense, no defender you could
no
put on anybody and be
defense.
sure.
So you just had all these big 6-7 foot guys, 6'8" guys that could just even when they lost, like we said, Giannis after game 3, they just became more. It just became more physical. Then they could just and truly play their positions.
Jrue Holiday is a tank, also. Like he just bullied his way
he
into
is
the
a
lane.
big guard.
Yeah,
he is a big guard, long guard. That's why he plays
Brook Lopez
great
came
deep.
down and just bulldozed.
They offensive out rebounded him by like 20
quick.
something.
Chris Middleton, watching him get to the lane just like on like one dribble, was like, oh shit, okay. Even another aspect of Chris Middleton we're missing out on.
Yes, I mean, again, I know like Charles Barkley and these guys are like, he's okay, like, and it's like he's not flashy, he's not, but he in a way to me shows what he means more to that team than I even thought. God, why is he escaping me now? He was on Miami. Oh, Jimmy Butler. Like where Jimmy Butler's just an ugly rebounding guy. He'll get you like the most boringest triple-double you've ever seen. But he gets his team to win. It's like Chris Middleton's the opposite. It's just like he's like a smooth operator. He's really the number one who can create his own shot in comparison to Giannis, who just can't. He's just a big guy who needs to just go to the basket, like back to the basket. He's old school. Yeah. And so he's really athletic, but he has no shot and he has no handles. And so he makes a lot of turnovers when he has to force it. And Middleton can create those mid-range jumpers, get open for threes. He's just a better scorer.
I think this is going to be, we're just so you know, this is not a one-to-one comparison. But if Giannis was never on the Bucks and Chris Middleton developed like he has, because he's a former G Leaguer, one of the first, I think he's the only G Leaguer to be in the All-Star game ever. Anyway, watching his game, his inside-out game, his ability to get to the rim, and like dictate an offense is like a hybrid of his upcoming opponent, Chris Paul, and a previous opponent, Kevin Durant. Like, I feel like that.
Yes.
He's got those.
Yeah, I would say to me, he's like a Durant, but he's not as tall.
Yeah, and
so he doesn't
he'll
have
take
that
a back
freakish. Right, he doesn't have that freakish like ability where it's like, oh, dude, you can't stop his shot because he's just way tall. Like nobody moves like Durant at that height.
One step is like 16 feet. Yeah, he doesn't have that.
But Chris Middleton reminds me of Paul Pierce a lot, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh yeah, okay.
But his more style reminds me of much more efficient. He gets his team. He takes over at the right times instead of just trying to take over from the start. And when that dude gets hot, like he's hot, and he goes on those runs, like he hits 4 or 5 shots in a row, and then now you're down 12. Like, and then you're just like, goodbye. Like, and then if you get Jrue Holiday going to the basket doing his thing, which opens it up for everybody else, then you get shots from, everybody else on the outside is going to be open. And because you got to guard those guys straight up. And again, like we said, Atlanta was just too undersized and they couldn't make enough baskets down the stretch when Trae Young got hurt. He kind of came back early to try to help out, but he was limited minutes
4
in
for
game
17.
6.
Oof.
He's just, he's not like, again, it's so hard to come back from injury, especially when you're
when it's your feet,
you don't play,
especially when you're undersized. If a leg injury to a guy who's like doesn't have upper body strength,
that's most of his thing. That's his strength is the speed, and you have to be able to trust it, time it. And you just don't have enough time. You're doing it like game time against air. And then now you have to put it into a real game with a guy pushing you, shoving you, trying not to get your foot stepped on. Yeah, it's a totally different kind of game. And he tried. We told him that we feel like they're a year away.
No, I feel like they're 2 or 3 years away. This is but that's me.
I think that they're there. I think again they're just their thing is they shouldn't have lost to the 76ers. We agree with that. They were also the better, bigger team. They just couldn't shoot, and Atlanta could, and that was 76ers' downfall. I think with Atlanta, this is just going to build confidence.
Yep.
They do need to get a bigger guy to help them out. All their guys, even their power forwards.
I don't even know if it's got to be bigger as much as just a
is
competent
he even a
defender.
power forward? What is he? I mean, he's just they're playing like the Warriors in a way, but it's too hard in the Eastern Conference because they've gone so old school, and they're just. I mean, again, the Bucks outsize everybody, even when Giannis comes back, which I'm assuming he will. Even though it looked really bad, I'm really glad that there was no structural damage. It was just a hyperextension that maybe he plays in game 2 or game 3. But I mean, the Bucks look good. But
they look like they can weather that storm.
Am I more confident in them than the Suns, who finished off their series? Look at the Clippers, which we're going to talk about, and we'll see. Yeah. How do you feel about the Suns?
I'm still high on the Suns, man. They're such a good defensive team. They're such a good offensive team. They're kind of getting back to healthy again. Devin Booker clearly affected by that face mask. That like every time he took it off, he's like all of a sudden he could pass and shoot again. Like his passing when he had the face mask on he was off by like 3 feet every time. Yeah. It was severely fucking his game up. So I think him never winning that
just
again.
A comfortability. Yeah, there's no doubt.
So I think it's going to go right back to just ripping.
They took care of the Clippers despite playoff P. Actually playing pretty well down the stretch. He got some help. But Chris Paul was too good. Reggie Jackson was great for the Clippers too. But you could see that they missed
some guy named Kawhi
Williams. They missed Kawhi, obviously. Yes. Do I think Kawhi and them win that series? I don't know, but it definitely probably goes 7. Yeah. You're playing it obviously completely different. I think they had an advantage because they're so deep with Jackson and Mann that it's just harder to play D on those guys because you don't know if they're going to get the ball, where it's like Kawhi's going to get his shots and Paul George is going to get his, so you can play defense differently. And so I think it was just we'll talk about that a lot, obviously, is that we thought Mann should have started basically after game 3 in that series. He didn't. Ty Lue stuck to his guns and kept bringing him off the bench. Maybe to his detriment, he tried to make it like a strategy thing of when he was going to bring him in, and I think it just ended up hurting them more than anything when they really could have taken control of that series.
Yeah. Well, the important thing here, Phil, is that the two guys we probably talk about the most on this podcast have made it. Chris Paul going to the finals. Chris Middleton going to the finals.
Going to the finals.
If there's anybody that like, who do these guys have crushes on in the NBA? And you can say Blake Griffin. I know you're thinking it, Phil, but it's not true. It's our Chris's. We need these Chris's. It's like the MCU's got their Chris's. We've got our Chris's. All right,
we got our Chris's.
I'll put my Chris's up against all those guys.
That's true. I mean, if you searched us in all our talk, like we couldn't say probably Giannis enough. Definitely couldn't say Chris Paul enough, especially this year. And they're both there. They're sure everybody will say just like Kawhi winning with the Raptors, the injuries played a part, but it always does.
Every season. Go through every season, find one team that wasn't affected by an injury that cost them a series.
Some team doesn't. Yeah. You could say, and every year, and then obviously this year where you have teams who had never been to the finals, or one team had only won a championship out of the 4 that were in it. It's crazy, of course, but this is, again, great for the NBA. It's great for you want some type of competitive balance, even though we know that there isn't really. There's probably like 5 or 6 teams that can win it every year, maybe less. And but it's good. It's good for the NBA, and I really, really I like these two teams. These two teams are great. I love their styles are going to be contrasting, and we'll kind of see who, like, inserts their will, like in the series. I like the Suns early, just because you know how frustrated I get with the Bucks that they shoot themselves in the foot, and they've been lucky to go against some teams that they can turn it back on when they need to. And I don't know if they could do that with the Suns unless something happens to Booker or Chris Paul. Like I don't know how they beat that team.
Yeah, the question of who guards who is a lot easier in this series than it was for the Hawks against them, especially with Giannis out. If he's out, that becomes an even easier question for him. But before we get into all of that, this is a beer and basketball podcast, so we are drinking beers.
Oh, that's right.
Every time. We used to be good about getting to this early. Now we're like, we'll wait. We should probably get
There's
to it
a lot of good basketball. It's almost,
so
it's like it's hard to insert the beers. But yeah, we are drinking beers. I am drinking Urban Roots Hell, which is a Hellas lager.
Mm-hmm.
It is fantastic. It is 4.8%. It is very, I mean, if you don't know the difference between like a Czech Pils and a Hellas, I'm not going to go into like all of it, but it's like, it's just a very creamy texture. I get with the Hellas, you get more crispy with a Czech lager, and they're just both easy to drink. Very well made. Peter Huey does it again. He's the lager king. This is why we said they're the Chicago Bulls to us of breweries in Sacramento, because they do all the styles well. They win in most categories, and they're great people at Urban Roots, and they just keep winning, and it's not fair. This is delicious though, and I get to drink it every day, and I'm really, really lucky that I could go down the street and pick this stuff up.
Yep.
What are you drinking, Ben?
For me, I am, since the Bucks made it to the finals, I was like, let's get a Wisconsin beer going. Then I realized I don't have any Wisconsin beers, so I went to the next closest place I could, Michigan. I've got Bell's Brewery, Two Hearted Ale, American IPA. Classic. One of the best. One of those things you judge IPAs against. So I thought that was fitting. Also, as a fun joke for me, one of my best friends, he's from Michigan. And when I talk to him and when we get into an argument, I always tell him to go back to Wisconsin. I think that's a sick burn
I'm
on
from
Michigan
Ohio.
There. Yeah, you know.
Yes, I'm from Ohio, and we hate the Michiganders.
And Michigese.
I love it. No, Bell Brewing is great. Michigese, yes, and Michigans. They are Bell is a really good brewery. I loved what they did with Sierra Nevada when Sierra Nevada did the across the country collaborations.
Beer camps.
Right when collaborations were just starting, they just exploded on the scene, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and they basically did it with every big brewery in every state, the biggest one that they could find.
Oh yeah, Beer Camp Across America. Yeah, that was great.
Beer Camp Across America.
Yeah,
that was like absolutely crazy.
Remember when collabs were weird beers that you would never see anywhere else?
Yes.
And now they're like, we've just made an IPA. It's like, that's not really exciting to me.
Right. It's like, oh yeah, we did. No, that was the thing about the collab, which was great, is that you took whatever the one brewery did really well with your style, and then you collab them together. Now it's just, we just put a name on a can.
Yeah, we drank beers together. We made a hazy. It'll be out in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Look for it.
It's like, so it tastes like every other beer.
Like every other hazy you have on tap, but I get to be like, oh, well, this is a great notion. And now it's $24. And it's like,
no, you do the strengths of each one. That's
or do something that neither of you really do. Or you just go, let's do something you never do. Let's make an alt beer, like something like that. It's always fun. Let's do a smoked.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do a German something.
Like something.
Right.
But
or sour blonde with like blueberries or some crap, like something like that you don't normally make, like you said, and it will pull alone just because people want to see what you guys do, and you can understand it. That's for the beer nerds. Yeah. But now it's just like let's just like putting a sticker that says double dry hopped. Yeah. Like they're just doing, like nobody can really tell the difference. That they're gonna buy it because they think that means it's better. Like they just don't know, and it's like, but they gotta sell beer.
That's us old fart beer heads being like this.
Yeah,
It's
let's
like,
get we'll get off our porch.
We're just the Charles Barkleys of beer. These guys they would never survive in 2002 craft beer. I'll tell you that much. You could have come in here with this haze in here. You don't even know how to make a clear beer. What is this? No Hefeweizens on tap? How long has it been since you had a Hefeweizen? You know that you go to the hole and you don't got a Hefeweizen. You're gonna lose. You're not gonna make it, man. That's
No, you're not gonna make it at all, man. What are you talking about?
You can't get to the finals without a good red ale. I'm Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
What is this? Who's retiring, by the way? I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, you can't have 10 IPAs on draft and be a good brewery. Get out of here. No way you survive. Oh, wait, you had 20,000 medals? Oh, wait, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, that's our fun beer, and that's how we do it. We'll compare anything to a beer thing and basketball thing. We'll go. But yeah. Because this started out as like kind of an old school basketball conversational thing, and then we're like, let's just do it for the season and see what happens, and just talk about like what's happening now. And it's a lot of work as opposed to reminiscing about. It is.
We didn't think it was. I mean, it's fun work, which is nice.
But you got to be paying attention.
It's fun work, but it's like, oh wow, we have to like
pay attention.
Yeah, know stats and stuff. Wow.
Oh, I don't know about that. We can look those up in the moment, but you got to have a basic understanding of what, like, oh, this guy is like coming on, and we didn't even know he existed until today. And it's. But yeah, oh damn it! So I was gonna say, I think I sent you this link a couple weeks ago to Secret Base, the YouTube page.
Yes.
It's from SB Nation. They're doing a thing about your calves.
Oh my calves.
Called Chosen. They finally put out episode 2 this morning.
Yes, no, I did see that. I have not got a chance to listen to it.
Oh my god!
But yeah, like it's good. Like again, I am from Ohio. I moved out there when I was 12. Everything was a loser besides Ohio State University. And that is your best team when you have like 8 professional franchises. That's not great in your entire state. It's okay for Alabama. It's not good for when you have professional.
And they're storied franchises, you know? It's not like the Cleveland Browns were nothing or the Indians were nothing.
Chances.
Yeah,
they had a lot of chances and a lot of heartbreak in every single one.
The greatest running back of all time played strictly for you. One of the best pitchers of all time, Bob Feller, was an Indian. Like, you have all this history, but not anything substantial.
Nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course, like I rooted for LeBron just to put them in the wins column just one time. Like, good Lord, man. And he did it for him. And people died happy for once. There's some people that died holding onto that trophy, and then good for them. Good for them.
Okay, so you need to watch this documentary. Okay, it's going to be like 3 or 4, maybe 5 parts. They're about 45 minutes each. They're incredible. So Secret Base. So they did one last year on the Seattle Mariners. And their struggles with like everything from like Seattle having baseball in general, like the pilots and them failing. And that was John Boyce, he's a very negative person who's like kind of likes to dwell on like the worst like performances and like all the sadness in sports. But your series is called Chosen, that follows the Cavs finally winning a championship, and that's Seth Rosenthal, and he's a much more positive person who likes to see the like great things. And it's just I'm only 2 episodes in because they only put out 2, but it's so masterfully done. All the tie-ins, because they start with like the last possession of Game 7. And like, let's rewind and see how we got here. And they go all the way back to like 1919. It's like right here we see these 2 players. It's Steph Curry and it's Kevin Love. How did they get on this floor? What are their ties to Cleveland? It turns out they're like, hey, Del Curry played for the Cavs.
Yeah.
And Steph Curry was born at the same hospital LeBron James was born at. But
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was raised in North Carolina because they let him go in the expansion draft, and the Hornets claimed Del Curry. I'm like, this is nuts. It's like that
is crazy how the world works in mysterious ways. That's crazy. Yeah. No, I would love. I do want to see that.
Also, LeBron is not the first hometown talent taken with the first overall pick by the Cavs. That was Ron Mercer. was also an
That's
Ohio
true.
guy. Yeah. So it's like
He was now he didn't have obviously the cachet,
right.
but yeah, still.
And then the story of
Like
how he got run out of town. It was crazy. It's such a good documentary. I can't
I
recommend it
gotta get
enough.
into this. No, yeah, I'm gonna get
I'm
into
just
that.
mad. I
Yeah.
thought they were going to put out an episode every week, but they're doing it like every 3 weeks. I'm like, man, just give me the stuff. Please. Just
Yeah,
let me
well,
watch
who are
this.
you? Who are you waiting for? Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be Disney Plus.
I know you're done.
Just, like,
I know
give
you're
it, give
done.
it all to us.
Come on.
Give it all to us.
You're not writing this as you go. There's so much involved here that this was done. You were
Yeah,
just finding the
exactly. Who are
clips.
you holding this for? What you know? What we're in now? We're in the binge mode. We
Yeah.
want all of the episodes at one time.
But yeah, I love
That's how we do.
Secret Base as a YouTube page. They follow strange rules and like sports beefs. It's so fun.
No, I do like it. There's not a lot of it's funny how they're doing it, like in a way like secret, not secret, like menus and stuff. Like it's just like it's a way of piquing people's interest, and then it's like also like decent reporting. It looks like so it's like it's really good because you know who they're talking to. They're not talking to you know the millennials, the younger guys from us, like the people who need their information like this. This is the people who want to know history, who want to take the time and actually learn it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's so great. But I definitely want to get into it, but I haven't yet.
Why
but
can't
now
you find
made me
2
do it.
hours just lying around?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's weird, huh? That's
Yeah.
weird.
But we've got it. The finals are here. It's Chris Paul versus Chris Middleton and their friends.
Yes, they're
long-
very big friends.
A long, circuitous, terrifying, will they, won't they, romantic comedy, drama thriller of a playoffs. Chris Paul seemed like he was dead in the first round. It seemed like he was only half a
Yes.
man. And then he lit the world on fire in that final game against the Clippers, scored like 42 points, 41. One of those numbers is right.
Yeah,
7 for
he's
8
back.
from 3, just crushing
back.
people.
Yeah, he's getting his shot was working. You could tell he had his legs back. You could tell, like everything was going for him, and they were just daring him to pass basically, and he was just like, "No, I'm just gonna shoot it like every single time." They played the pass. They thought he would just do that, and he was just like, "No, I can shoot. I'm not just shooting mid-range jumpers. I'm gonna shoot threes and make them." And he did at a alarming pace, the way Paul George had been doing to like keep the Clippers alive. Again, they just ran out of bullets. They really needed Kawhi or somebody else like that to step up because again, there's a reason why. These guys, you can have depth, but they're just not meant to play 25, 30 minutes and give you, 20 points a game. They just aren't consistent enough to do that. And Kawhi is, but like we talked about when he got hurt in the last podcast, is like he's not going to do a damn thing. He's got his laurels. He has nothing to play for.
Yeah.
There's no reason for him to try to. He's not Paul George, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not. He's got his championships,
Yep.
and he could go away and he could be like he could walk away like Barry Sanders or whatever if he wants.
Oh
to.
yeah,
He's
totally could. Yeah.
So
Warren
like,
Spawn, whatever you want to say.
yeah, and of course it's just another reason to create intrigue in the off season for them to find out whether or not he resigns. Paul George has already said. What he has to say because he signed like another 7-year extension, so he had to say, "Oh, we'll be fine with or without him, whether or not he comes." And they might be. And then you talk to Toronto Raptors, and you see, like, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have another guy like that. Like it's like I don't think he's going anywhere, but
there's a difference between.
Could I see him going to the Lakers somehow? Could I see him like
just
going like? Yes. Could you not see that possibly? Like,
what about if he's?
It makes no sense, but you could. Let's
just bring him up to Portland. Everybody goes to Portland. Let's just put everybody in Portland and just see what happens. Like, Ben Lillard's like, I want out. Like, we'll trade CJ McCollum and some picks, and we'll get Kawhi. How about that? He's like, sounds great. I think he would be more than happy to have that.
Yeah,
like, we'll get rid of everybody. Can you two just take on 5 people all the time? He's like, well, he's got that leg issue. I'm like, fine, we'll get like 6 guys. But
no, well, I think,
and also
Kawhi,
that would be also
get to the point that Kawhi doesn't want to play every day, so you get him on a team where he doesn't have to. He can miss 30 games, and they all could miss 30
The only
games.
thing that will bar that from happening is the fact that the Trailblazers owner and the Clippers owners, the Clipper owner wanted to buy the Trailblazers, but got outbid by the guy that owns the Trailblazers. They work for the same company. They got their money the same way.
Yes.
So I don't think they'd ever do business together. But that would be fun.
Microsoft. Yes. Sir.
Yeah, but that'd be fun. I think
that would be. But they're
they'll
competitive.
never allow it. Yeah.
No, they're competitive, and they want to beat each other. They want to be the first person to do it.
Yeah, right. And they're going to help the other one. But that would be.
Oh yeah.
It's the only reason that trade's not happening. I'm putting it out there. This is the only reason Kawhi Leonard is not a Trailblazer tomorrow.
Well, again, they don't have. Well, he's going to be a free agent, so I mean,
no. He has the ability to exercise his option.
Opt out.
Yeah, and then he becomes unrestricted.
Which he's going to do.
Yeah, it'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, he's going to do it. He's doing the LeBron thing, the 2 years and opt out and then LeBron was doing 1 year and opt out because he just that kind of power. But I could see LeBron restructuring his contract easily. I could see
that's why they do it. Like I'll ask for more money, or I'll take a hit.
Do all that, and then just so everybody could play, 30 games. Yeah. Nobody gets hurt, or everybody gets rest, and then you just come together. Like you can't be Brooklyn because again that happens no matter what. But I feel like if he went to LA, it would be LA versus Brooklyn. You would assume they'd be the 2 favorites coming out next year,
right away.
No doubt. And they tend to think that everybody's going to be back on Brooklyn, besides Griffin probably. So we'll kind of have to see, but it's going to be interesting in the off season for the Clippers and Kawhi because it just makes it just draws out, it just brings on drama, which again he doesn't mind. He was big on leaving Toronto hanging until he figured it out and everything he's going to do, fiscally, what's going to get him the most money, what draws them out. So, and gives them the best chance to win and stay healthy. And he clearly is going to want to play less. He knows how hard it is to win. And then 2 very tough seasons after winning immediately in Toronto. Could you imagine what happens if he stays in Toronto?
Man, yeah,
dude. We could do a whole podcast on that. Easy. If Kawhi stays in Toronto,
Marcus
do they win again? They probably win again.
Pascal
they
Siakam
probably
doesn't
win
feel
again.
The pressure of being the number 1 guy. Kyle Lowry gets the pressure.
He still has a year to develop.
Yeah.
Van Fleet becomes an all-star. He just steps up. Yeah. It's just, it's amazing.
The sports are
it's
crazy.
Amazing
like
the dominoes.
The what ifs are so insane.
You could do it forever.
Yeah. And the thing is, reality happens. Sorry, if you want to go find an alternate reality, just make a different choice and know that you can't go back, but you can go forward. You'll see what happens because of your choices.
Well, it's just so easy. When you see one piece,
you'll never know what the other side
and all the dominoes that fall. Yeah, it's always curious to see if that one piece didn't just said the opposite thing and said yes, I'll stay.
Yeah, and it's
even
easy,
for just 2 years.
It's easy to say what if the Timberwolves had taken Steph Curry? Well, they took 3 point guards.
They did.
There's no guarantee they'd make the right choice on who they keep and who they don't, and who they play and who they don't. And there's no guarantee that whoever who the Warriors took was going to be the same person there's no guarantee they take a bad player. They don't take the same guy that's filling the spot. There's no way to know.
No.
It's all garbage. We could talk about it all day, but it's like, well, yeah, if that happens, but then that changes this, and then that changes this, and then that changes this, and then all of a sudden nobody's playing for anybody. Vlade Divac still finds his way to the Lakers at some point, regardless. It doesn't matter.
It's true.
Or should
sounds like a true Sonic fan.
Yeah, it's all a lie. No matter what happens, the Sonics do not exist anymore.
The Sonics are terrible.
Every reality shows that the Sonics do not stay in Seattle.
Or they could be the Kings, so you could,
yeah.
I know how to pick them, man.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do.
Literally left all my Cleveland stuff for like the worst teams in California instead. And luckily the Giants worked out. I mean, maybe the Niners were pretty good, but the Giants worked out. Kings have not.
Yeah. What if the Sonics had competent ownership? What if they decided that they would pay Sean Kemp? What if they decided?
What if Chris Paul had actually went to the Lakers like he was supposed to?
Yeah. Oh God, that's a what if. Jesus.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
See.
What if Andrew Bynum didn't blow up his knees? So many things. It's dumb.
What if Gilbert Arenas didn't bring that gun to the locker room? There's so many things.
What if?
So many things.
What if, the Grizzlies kept Pau Gasol and the Lakers kept Marc Gasol? It's just, we could do this all day and it would get us nowhere. We'd be like, and then at the end of the day, the Suns versus
anything, the Suns versus the Bucks is happening.
It was
in this reality.
Yeah. Like all those decisions, because they cancel each other out, it's still Suns versus Bucks. Chris Paul's still on the Suns.
This is what the NBA is doing.
Yeah.
They're like, how did we end up with Suns Bucks? This is exactly the teams we didn't want to see.
Oh, yeah.
Milwaukee and Phoenix.
It's like, hey, we just went through a whole pandemic and we need to get our ratings back up. What should we do? Suns Bucks final.
Phoenix and Milwaukee.
They're so mad.
They're like, are there hotels there? Like, what are they going to do? Like, oh my God. It's going to be 112 degrees and it's going to be snowing at the same. It's going to be how?
Oh my God!
How are we doing this?
Yeah. I think it's time that we discuss the realities of this series in our current reality.
That was enough.
If you're listening to this podcast, you're living in our reality. If you're not listening to this podcast, it's because you're not in our reality, and that's unfortunate. But it turns out not many people are living in our reality, Phil. But it's fine.
It's all right. We're trying. We're still putting it out there in the world. They'll find us.
They'll find us when they always do. When they make a shrine to all the great Chris's in the world. They're like, oh, these guys were ahead of the curve on this one.
Remember when these guys were talking about it years ago?
Yeah, you remember when they called out the NBA saying that you can't stop Chris Paul from getting to the finals, and then they were right. Like, you have COVID, maybe you were near it. You were near it, but none of your teammates or coaches were near it, but you were. So you stay home, sir.
You were. So you'll
never see the NBA finals.
We know that you ripped out your shoulder and missed 2 games, and then almost got poked in the eye and almost missed a game.
And then got shoved in the back and got thrown on your back and. Like, remember when he landed on his spine?
Beverly.
That was great. When he landed right on like the most painful part of his back. And then they're like, is this a flagrant foul? And the question was not, was it a flagrant foul, but rather, was it unsportsmanlike conduct? Like, it's a regular foul. I'm like, nobody was arguing it wasn't a regular foul, but then the guy that did it saw him land on his back in pain after he'd already injured his back and like did a dance. That's
right.
Kick him out for that.
He basically tried to make fun of him for how he reacted to getting basically
re-injured.
Kneed in the groin. Yeah, it's like. Okay. Now again, Chris Paul's had his moments of doing dirty tactics.
Yeah.
But he's not the only one. But when you get caught, you get caught. You don't get to go back. Well, this guy also does this. That's not how it works.
Yeah. So there's no consequences for whatever Patrick Beverley does for some reason.
No, it's like, who is he like? I guess Ron Artest a little bit, or most like it's like you know what you're getting. So, and he did it at the impromptu time, right? They're already losing. It wasn't like a J.R. Smith situation where it's like they could have won the game. Like, it was just like they knew they were going to lose. It's frustration. He's allowed to do it because he just looks like a dirty player. He just looks like Coolio. and they're angry, and that's how they're going to treat it.
Yeah.
And he gets away. He looks like the villain, and he's
Yeah.
willing to play. And I respect how he got there. I respect how hard he worked. I respect that he's got personal issues and all that kind of stuff. But
like
you can't do that.
As a Russell Westbrook fan, as a Thunder fan, as a basketball fan, I still really like watching Patrick Beverley plays because he gives it his all and he doesn't let anything go.
He does.
Like, it's an enjoyable thing to me. Like, people hated Bruce Bowen too, but I liked watching him because he just didn't. He was tenacious and like,
that's what he was good at, and he just laid into it.
If you're not doing extracurricular stuff, you're not really giving your all on the court. Like, that's kind of when you have that mindset.
And that's where it's weird to me because
his place in the league is always possibly the last time he's going to play basketball professionally. Like, because his skill set's not really there. He has to prove his worth every day.
Right, or at least he always will have that chip right there. Yeah. You don't create that mantra and then rest on your laurels. You always have been fighting.
Always something.
So you don't know how. So you always will have, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this to continue that. And and most of the time it does translate into good things. Like, obviously they don't get where they get without it, but now he's a liability offensively.
Yeah. But he made some threes. He made some big
threes. We can talk. We can talk
about. An awful about these losers.
The Clippers are bad. Yeah, the Clippers are bad. Look, let's talk about the good stuff.
Okay.
The Clippers are shambles. They'll probably still be a playoff team, obviously, but they're going to be bad.
All right,
I'm done with the Clippers.
We got two finalists. This is the Beer and Basketball Podcast. We're going to compare these finalists to breweries. But before we do that, I'm just going to throw out that the losing teams are the following breweries. And you can agree with me or disagree. Clippers, they are Rogue Brewing. It's like, yeah, man, they're going to do some crazy stuff, try to get this done, but like a lot of it's going to not work out very well. But when it does, it's going to be beautiful. But they're like, we're going to start this guy that hasn't played an NBA game. We're just going to do that. We're going to try things and hope it works out. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. That's Rogue.
Interesting.
And then
what would you say Atlanta is?
So for the Hawks, I would say the Hawks are any like really well-regarded new brewery. And like, what are they going to do next? Like, they're going to get better? They're going to stay the same, or they're going to fall off the face of the earth? We don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of young talent there, and they shined, but they might end up not even knowing how to make a Kolsch, and it will be the downfall. I don't know.
It could be movement. It could be movement for our area, I guess. Yeah. Like,
why do all these beers look
hit the ground running? They're really popular, but it's like, only time will tell how good they are really, right? They're not a bad brewery, but are they going to be one of the big hitters forever?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Somebody posted a flight that was like all hazy IPAs and like a Saison, and they were all the same color. And I was like, that's the problem, you know? And I went there and I had some beers like these all taste, there's a regular IPA, a West Coast and a hazy, and they tasted the same. And I'm like, that's a problem, you know? Like,
yeah. I mean, it'll work for your basic beer.
Yeah.
They
give you what you want,
and you can just give them 4 names, and then people will believe that they're different, and you can give them all the same beer.
And the place is packed. People love them. They get really great reviews.
Right, they do. They're getting incredible reviews.
Yeah, and I like some of their staff a whole lot. The venue's cool. I always want to see that spot succeed. When it was American River, I wanted to succeed. When it was the name of that place up in Placerville, it was great. Old Republic, when it was Old Republic, I wanted to succeed.
Old Republic, yes.
Yeah. It's like wanting to
see... I think, again, it's one of these things where I thought, like, because Log Off opened before they did. And I thought, are they talking about Log Off when I first heard all of this stuff? And then it was like, oh, no, there's another brewery that opened.
I thought Log Off is where
literally
is.
Crushing it. Yeah. And I was like, wait, there's 2 breweries in like a mile of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then one is just getting like all this praise. And one you hear like not a lot about, but at the beginning you heard like their traditional, what you would normally hear from a new brewery is like, oh, they're good. Like, they're just out there and nobody has a way of getting their beers throughout Sacramento. You have to go there to get it. And then it seemed like movement just got a lot of pub, got a lot of love on the internet and really blew up, and people were just, loving their stuff. And it's like a lot of the pictures are the same beer over and over, which I haven't gotten to try, but I've heard good things from them. I've heard good things from a lot of those breweries that kind of opened up, but we had like at least like a brewer from a established brewery or stuff like that. So I could see like that's to me is like the Atlanta Hawks, where it's like they don't really have a veteran.
Yeah,
they don't have their Chris Paul yet to get them over the top. But are they relevant? Sure, like it's good to see, but are they going to make the right moves to become like it's really obviously incredibly hard to be an Urban Roots or anything like it. Like they're going to be a Sierra Nevada, they're going to be a Stone Brewing. Like this, like Urban Roots is going to be historic forever. Like that's something we're going to be talking about from 25 years later, 30 years later. They're going to be still doing their thing. Yeah. Just in like multiple states. That's just where they'll
hopefully. Depending on how craft beer goes, but the regionality is really not a thing currently, but maybe it comes back. It's really local. Regional is almost impossible. Statewide almost impossible. National is literally impossible, unless you're Montucky Cold Snacks.
Right. Well, if you make one beer really well, and just make it over and over and over
out of it.
Suck out of it. Yeah, you put all your money into that and just make one light lager, you can do it.
Forget about it. But all right, we got to compare these teams, the teams that we've been avoiding talking about, the head-to-head.
Yes.
We got the Suns versus
That's how
the Bucks.
bad we are. We don't want to talk Suns.
We're holding it out to the end. We want to build that suspense. What our real thoughts are on these NBA finals, the 2020-2021 NBA finals. The final time I get to say 2020-2021.
To say it. Yes, 2020-2021.
It's coming up. The last time I can say it is about to happen.
It's about to end.
But if we're going to do this review, we got to say, or analysis, preview, whatever you want to say, we got to know what breweries these teams are. Phil Webster, who do you think that the Suns are if the Suns are a brewery?
If the Suns are a brewery, they are an up-and-coming brewery who got some veteran help to get them over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's kind of weird. I think I'll actually kind of do the opposite. I know I'm probably going to go with what everybody thinks I'm going to go with if they listen to this podcast. I'm gonna say Bike Dog.
Really?
I'm gonna say Bike Dog. In the way is, I know it's like the exact opposite. They kind of got they were a veteran team who got like this young hotshot that's like killing the beer game, and then now he gets to kind of run the show. So it's kind of like the opposite of Chris Paul, but I feel like he's taking their stuff to the next level in a way that they weren't able to kind of do before. But they were making the playoffs, right? They were making the playoffs. They were constant, but they couldn't get over the hump. And I think now they're in the game, a collabs and whatnot. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I had a different thought entirely. But now that you said that, I'm like, what about Moxa?
I want to hear.
What about Moxa, where you bring in your Chris Paul of Derek Gallinosa and you pair him with your Devin Booker of Corey Meyer?
Corey. Yeah, Corey Meyer.
And then you give
him... I thought about that, but they weren't like a team... They weren't like they started off together. Yeah. So it's like kind of, but I see what you mean. Like they were in the back of my head.
That's not one of my choices. I just wanted to pitch that out there. So,
but I did nix that in my head thinking about.
I thought the obvious answer, because they're a well-rounded team that can play multiple styles and put multiple players in there and still succeed. You can get injuries and still do well. And they added an old head to really make sure it all maximizes itself. I was like, that's Urban Roots all day, every day. But I'm going to not call it that either. I'm going to call it one I thought you would say, because you're like, I'm going to pick the obvious pick. I'm like, is it your favorite brewery? Henhouse Brewing?
In-house brewing is up there. I thought about them too.
Yeah, I think that's it. To me, I think that's it.
I think that's a great call. I like both. For obvious reasons, I'm trying to get it like too into the minutia of how they got there necessarily.
There's no
but in-house for sure. Yes, I know. I'm right. I'm just saying, like, yes, in-house was up there as those 1-2 where I thought like they're really up and they've been doing stuff, and they're finally getting the recognition. They're finally getting out there. They're doing great stuff. And especially where they are in Sonoma County, the fact that they're making such headway up here is great. We're really lucky to have them. I get every hen house I ever see. It doesn't turn me down. Now again, this is another brewery that we just smashed on movement on about. They mostly, like, all I see, I mean, they do other styles, and we've had some dark saison.
Here's what sold me on them. Here's what sold me on them as the pick is they don't do the big stuff. They're like, you come at them with like a moxa, you come at them with like all these imperial stouts, like with all these flavors in there. You do a pastry stout, and they're like, you know what we have in here? We got an oyster stout, and it's gonna beat you down. It's gonna grind you to dust, and it's gonna beat you. Like, I know you're all hyped up. Yes. We got this guy, and he's gonna clean house.
We make a dark saison.
Yeah,
like we put stuff in barrels that don't go at 14 ABV. Like we put stuff to like just get funky flavors, see what's gonna happen. Like they're not doing it for ABV purposes, and all their stuff is reasonably priced. It's tasty. They do a ton of hazies. That's kind of their only thing. If you're against that, you're probably not going to like them as much.
That's the new breed of basketball. That's just how it's going to be.
But it's exactly. So you're right. Like they could be the Suns, man. Like they could be there, but also, you have a little old school too with the big man throwing it up to him. Dante Ayton.
It's like your pastry stouts
he's about to get paid.
Can be something once in a while, but you can't have a pastry stout every day. But you could have an oyster stout all day, every day.
That can't be your pastry stout. Shouldn't be your best beer.
Right.
That's all I gotta say. It. Like it shouldn't be. And so it's no knock. That's great that you can do anything really great, but it shouldn't, as a brewery, be your best beer because nobody's drinking those daily and not dying of diabetes. You need to have an IPA. You need to have a lager or something like that you have consistently, that's easy to drink, that you have on tap all the time, and that you can go with, and you don't have to like come up with a new label or new cans all the time. That's again what I love about Urban Roots, Bike Dog, a lot of the old heads, is that they have flagship beers that they go with all year round. So just in case you get nostalgic and you want a dog years, or you want
the other day, it was delicious.
Riding a bike, you can get those beers and they taste exactly the same because that's what carried them. That's what brought them to the dance. And then they come out with these other things, and maybe they can add more to the category, like Urban Roots, and add 10 Degrees. And Hellas and all these stuff, like, to the normal rotation. But, like, again, not everybody's going to be them. Like I said, they're going to be the Sierra Nevadas of the world. They're going to get the closest thing to it next. And I'm super proud of all of them. And it's awesome to know them and get to try their stuff all the time. But, so who are the Bucks?
Who are the Bucks? To me, here's what I was going to say. They only play one way, but that's not really true anymore. But to me, it's they're a hammer.
They drafted. They did it through the draft.
They're just a hammer. They're just like, we're gonna hit you with the same thing over and over again, and you will relent or you will not. We'll say that we're making other styles of beer, but we're doing one thing, and it's just hops. We're just gonna pound hops in here. To me, the Milwaukee Bucks are Lagunitas. It's like, I know you say you have a Pilsner, but it's an IPA. Like, I know it. Like, I get it. You have Willetized. Okay, we get it. But like, and you have like a sour that's pretty okay.
I'm almost right there with you.
But it's like everything is really just hops. It's the same hops too. It's all the same hops in every beer. It's just so much. And like,
I had that. That's where I was close. As soon as you said hops, I thought about it. Mine is Knee Deep Brewing.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
yeah, very similar.
Everything's hoppy, like hoppy lagers. They're really session IPAs. Like stop, like they're not
like
they're
like
not lagers.
I think Long's pills is 7.2%, and it's like it's a hoppy pills. Like it's a fucking IPA. Get out of my face with this. And you know what I also like about this is that you kept yours Sacramento. I kept mine Santa Rosa.
yeah, you did.
Or Petaluma area.
You're trying to push the limits.
We're like we're not traveling for this. These picks are like within 3 miles of each other. I guess 15, but whatever.
15, but yeah, whatever. No, there are no rules.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
We'll keep them the general area within like a few blocks of each other. We'll keep these picks.
Yeah, no, your first one was Rogue. Like there are breweries that we again showed our age. Nobody knows who Rogue is anymore. Like, but you're right. Like, I mean, the Bucks are very, they make your mind melt because they know how to win. They're physically more dominant. They're more versatile, but then they keep doing stuff because they don't know how to win yet. So then they keep doing stuff that they shouldn't do. Like they're a young team, even though they're learning from their mistakes and they have made those steps. And I think they get there. I think they beat the Suns barely if they play right. If they play right and Giannis plays by game 2, I think they win the series. Now, Giannis doesn't play. It's really tough. But would you think
the cult of Khris Middleton comes to full fruition?
Right. He either becomes Batman, the Batman we say that he really is, and not the Robin, and I think he could do it with Drew Holiday, because Drew Holiday's inserting himself more.
Yep.
He's being more aggressive. He's spinning to the basket. He's finding ways to score instead of passing. And if those two guys get together, I'm trading Giannis immediately and getting as much as I can for him. Like, get as many picks as anybody's. Give him to your boy, Presti. No, get on the Presti.
Oh yeah, you get hella picks.
Get hella picks.
Get hella picks. Him and Shea Gilgeous. I'd watch that.
He doesn't. Yeah, he has all the money in the world. He could take. He doesn't have anybody he's paying for.
And he's already on the record. Scared money don't make none. He's already said it. So get it.
And I love Sam Presti. I love what he's doing. I'd give anything to him to be a king. Like,
oh my god,
the potential that he always has, and the fact that he knows how to draft. He's not afraid to draft.
Yeah.
And he'll also use them he's gotten multiple guys to go, work there, to trade for. And he'll do it again.
And he'll take IQ over talent every day of the week. He'll take IQ over talent every day. He's had so many talented players that didn't want to put the work in.
But he also knows I'm in OKC. Yeah. I'm not, there's no guy who's going to want to come here. I'm going to have to trade for somebody. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I come over the top with 8 picks or something like that to get a guy. Yeah. And he's going to make that move. He's going to do it again eventually. And maybe, just maybe.
He's got an arsenal.
You do it for Giannis. You just got to get rid.
He's like, I got 3 picks in the first round this year. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm getting something.
Yeah,
I'm getting something. It's like
trade the defensive player of the year. Let him start all over again. He's got his ring. You got Khris Middleton. You got Drew Holiday. You can give him the max. Just keep those guys. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fun for me. But in these finals, I think
let's blame Giannis for the tampering. You can get rid of him that way, and that's why you didn't get. That's why you didn't get Bogdanovich, who I was sad for. Obviously, he didn't make it, but he's got more taste of the playoffs than he ever had before. So, I mean, good for him. He played his heart out too.
But enough about these losers. Let's talk about these winners and who's going to be the final winner. You said you think the Bucks, as long as Giannis is healthy early in the series, can take this thing.
If I had to hold a gun to my head, I'm taking the Suns. But if I can use some logic, I'm taking the Bucks.
Nah, I think I'm going to stick with the Suns on this one. I feel like they have the manpower to just get a hack of Giannis going if they need to. They can just throw wave after wave of defender on him. They've got tons of fouls to give. They've got decent size.
Aiden's so much better than
Aiden's swallowing Brook Lopez up. I think he's
Brook Lopez is great.
Yeah,
he's having a renaissance year.
It's been beautiful to watch. I've really enjoyed him in this series.
It's been beautiful. He has, but he's not Nikola Jokic. He's got 20 years on him.
Yeah.
He's got 20 years. Aiden's like 19, 20 years old. He's going to just dominate him.
He ate up Anthony Davis. He ate up Nikola Jokic. Brook Lopez is like a snack. Like, it's nothing.
Aiden, to me, is like if Odin didn't get hurt.
Yes, he's very...
And he had Brandon Roy. Like, yes, they're just tall guys who are 19, 20, and they look like they're 50 years old. Like, he lost all the weight. He looks super athletic. They look like they can't be beat. Yeah. So you're right. Like the Suns have to be the favorite, and I would assume they are.
I think if you're going point guard to point guard, I think Chris Paul wins that. I love Jrue Holiday. I love how he's earning that paycheck in the last 3 days. It's been great.
But he's, again, the veteranship is Chris Paul's been great. Yeah, they win that one.
Yeah, Jay Crowder will body up Chris Middleton and make it hard for him to do what he does. I still think Chris Middleton's a supreme talent who will win out at the end of the day, but it'll be hard for him. And that's enough. Yes. And then who's guarding Devin Booker at that point? I guess, are they sticking Giannis on him? What are they doing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Giannis, you have more flexibility defensively. Chris Middleton could play D.
That's true. He could put
and
him
you don't have to worry about Jay Crowder. You don't have to worry about Jay Crowder.
You don't have to worry about Jay Crowder at all. The most confident you give up
if he's great, he gets you 12 points. Like he's
maybe 18.
He's not great. Maybe yes.
If he's really hot,
but he's not going to get that. But he's not going to. Yeah, he's not even going to get that many attempts because he has two guys who shoot the ball all the time. And you have Payne coming off the bench for them.
Yeah.
You think he'll get 8 shots a game?
I think Jay Crowder will get the shots because that's who he is. He's the most confident bad shooter I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen Russell Westbrook play. Like, he's just so sure every three he's taking is going in, and he shoots like 29%. He's like, that's gold.
True.
It's gold. I got a long rebound, and there's 2 guys on me. I'm shooting this 3. It's just who he is. It's so weird. But I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to go long. I think it's going to be a battle of attrition. I think there's going to be guys who shine then fade away.
I hate when pundits say that, like they think it's going to go 7 or because I feel like they're just being
they're just hedging their bets.
They're just hedging bets, and they're just trying not to create enemies, and they're trying to say the right thing. But I do agree with this that I feel like these teams
are so evenly matched.
They haven't played. Well, they're so unorthodox to each other that I feel like they haven't had to play a team like that team.
Yeah.
Like, I think like the Hawks were probably the closest, like we said, but they didn't even have the true size and athleticism that Aiden is for them and Booker is for them. Like, just they're different. They're elevated versions of who they played. So we'll see. And again, they lost a couple. So it's going to take them really figuring out that we have to play physical inside. We have to not just shoot a whole bunch of threes because they can't outshoot the Suns. The Suns are better shooters.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Again, if their coach, if the Bucks coach can really emphasize that and try to get some we've seen it. We've seen them beat teams by 40.
Yeah.
This is the frustrating thing is that they'll dominate them defensively.
And then we'll see them lose by 20.
And you're just to the same team the next night, and you're just like, how?
We did it early in the season, the most blowouts. They were like number 1 in blowouts, but also number 1 in blowout losses. And it was just like, what the fuck is going on?
They're really frustrating.
But
They're really, yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, it's close. It really is. They are the most frustrating team, and here they are. The Suns, again, they had chances to lose. They gave up a lot in that series and made it more interesting than it had to be.
Mm-hmm.
Considering they didn't have Kawhi, they probably should have just won out, and of course they didn't, but they're still learning. So both of these teams not really knowing how to win, we're going to see who makes a lot more mistakes. Yeah. But yeah, you'd have to say on paper, without Giannis right now, the Suns are the favorite. But I'm holding out hope. I want them to be at full strength so we can actually kind of see what happens. But if the Bucks steal a game here, like, it'd be interesting because I think Phoenix has home court.
Yep,
I think so.
Yep, better record.
Because they're they're number 2 and they're number 3 in the East, a better record. Yeah, so I'm saying, if they steal game 1 in Phoenix.
Yeah. You got to remember that the Suns have 2 coaches and the Bucks have 1 bad coach. True. And I'm just going to keep. It's not a bad coach. He's an uncreative. He's an uncreative offensive coach. What we're looking at here is a game. This is a series that who wins? Brain versus brawn. That's really what it is. They're both just dynamite teams. And one's got an incredible basketball IQ and this volcanic scorer in Devin Booker. And there's one that's just really talented and then also just they'll bludgeon you. And it's really who comes out on top, the IQ or the brawn. And not LeBron, the Braun, just to be clear. LeBron is out. He's been out. Remember when we forgot who we beat?
I thought we'd go a podcast without talking about LeBron here. No, we can't.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, actually, technically we mentioned him earlier when I was talking about that documentary series, but
if we had enough followers, it'd be a drinking game, which I'd totally be into because that's what we do on this podcast.
Well, I'll just say I drank two Hearteds today, so that's where we're at.
Yes. But yes, I agree with you there that it's brain versus brawn. Again, I think one is a more longer team, better, but better in every way physically, but then there's a smarter, craftier, who shoot better team in the Suns. And we'll see which wins out. Like, they look
win the majority.
Smoother. The Suns look smoother, but the Bucks should win. If the Bucks were more dominant against Atlanta, we would have said, of course. Yeah. But because they struggled, we're like, you can't trust them.
And we've said that from the jump. You can't trust this team.
and here they are.
But the thing is, they win more. Like, if you give them 7 games, they're going to win 4 more often than not.
They win more than they lose. That's where I'm at.
The goddamn playoffs.
That if it goes 6 or 7,
they have the advantage because they have the conditioning because they're used to being bludgeoning, and they've been going long series. They might finally get tired,
and
but they also might.
Giannis does his thing. If he just gets, if he comes in and he just stays physical on the inside and doesn't try to do too much, doesn't try to block every shot, which is why he got hurt. Is trying to block an obvious dunk that he wasn't going to block. But
classic.
We've been talking about that all year. Yeah, him just getting dunked on. That's all. And it finally hurt him. It's like this is where you have to get to. As a player, I think for him too, now that he's a max player, is you just have to take some plays off. Not off, but just LeBron knows I'm not going to block this shot because I'm saving up my energy for down the stretch to pin that ball when I need to.
I also watched a clip this week of people who are like, here's why I like old school basketball more than new school basketball. Nobody wants to defend these dunks. I'm like, Giannis is always defending these dunks. You are picking clips to support your statement. People got out of the way in the 90s. They got out of the way. You're just picking the ones with the hard fouls, which there were a ton of because the rules were stupid. Now they're like, hey, there's
rules
levels
were
of
different.
fouls.
That was only a foul if a guy tried to dunk and you blocked it by it. Or hit his wrist in the process. Yeah. That was the only time you got a foul. If you were just going up for a layup, you almost never got a foul call. Yeah. Almost never. They were just you're on the ground, get back up. Things have changed all the way. And again, guys are still resting themselves because they're getting paid so much more money. They're getting told to take time, like breaks, not to go hard every play. Yeah, because you don't want the Kawhis, you don't want the LeBrons to get hurt in the playoffs. Like,
you don't want to scuff these Jordans.
No,
but all right. So we've called it. I'm calling it for the Suns. You're calling it for the.
I'm going Bucks in 7.
All right, I'm going Suns in 5. That's right. I'm going to just go out there. Go. Chris Paul will not be denied. Well. That's what I'm going to do. And now I'm like, backtrack to 6, backtrack to 6, backtrack to 6. But I'm not going to. I said it. Suns in 5. And then I'm going to live to regret that for the rest of my life. And that's fine.
You probably, well, maybe in the first 2 games you'll feel really good. And then I'll be like, I don't know. Yeah. All it takes is $1 to win. But we'll see. Yeah, it's going to be good. I can't wait. They deserve to be here. Chris Paul made it. Giannis made it. We'll see if he actually plays. We'll see.
Yeah.
He seemed obviously hype on the sidelines. He was getting up out of his chair. He was walking around. He looked good. Again, that guy's a freak of nature. So me and you would have torn every ligament in our knee, he is fine. I'm sure they're just resting him for this particular thing. I think he's going to have 2 or I don't think they play until next.
I didn't look. I meant to look and I didn't do it.
Yeah, Tuesday is the first game, July 6th. So he's got, 3 days of rest? I mean, he's been resting. He's got 3 more days. I think he can get it done.
Yeah.
I think he plays.
I think he does.
And I think if they do. But yeah, exactly. Maybe game 2, maybe you don't start him in game 1. Maybe you just trying to wait and see. But knowing Willis Reed, he'll start. Yeah, you just start. You're just like, oh, this game's going well. And then all of a sudden the Suns go on a 10-0 run. And then you're like, all right,
sit down. You're good. Yeah. You're good. If we come back, we'll lose you. But take a load off. So we do have 2 recurring segments we usually do. Is it the Goose and canning trays? Is it the Goose? There weren't really any memorable dunks since we last recorded, unfortunately. So for me, I was like, hey, remember when Brooke Lopez dunked and it sealed the win in Game 7?
That was basically it. That was mine. Was like that little alley-oop to him towards the end kind of was like, okay, like that happened.
Okay, it was over. It was nice somebody.
To see, and it was a little pretty. Collins. Yeah, it was over somebody. It was kind of like it seemed like an optical illusion because you couldn't quite tell at the first, and then they showed it in slow motion. And it's like, oh no, he got all of that. He palmed that ball and flushed it. But you're now talking about a 7'1" guy, so it's not great, but hey, man, whatever. He played his butt off. He deserves it. Him, Chris Middleton, all those guys do. But canning trays. Some of the beers I've been drinking. I think we should go get the Hellas Lager from Urban Roots. Hell,
called Hell.
It's fantastic. Get it. They even have a proper glass for it, commemorating it. I don't need any more beer glasses, even though I want it. It's hot. It looked great. They get really good photos of it. Their photographer is great. They make me want everything that they have there. Get this beer. All their lagers. Get anything that they can that's a lager. Yeah. Get it. Because you're not going to get anything better, anywhere regionally if you try it. It's delicious. And then Bike Dog has, they came out with another one that they had, I think, when Kyle Letty first took over there, which was one of his first 2 IPAs, which is a hazy IPA, which is called Facial Recognition. It's 7%. It's very good. I'm sure I know they might have tweaked it a little bit, but it was very good, very juicy, very easy drinking for those who like hazies. They definitely brought their game up. That's why they brought Kyle in, is to basically, bring his styles to it, keep rotating beers, and they keep knocking it out of the park. And, so get facial recognition where you see it. I know that just came out with that last week. So it's fresh. Find it wherever you find Bike Dug beers, man. Get it. They're good.
Yeah, and for me, I'm going to do a cop-out. It's what I do. It's the NBA Finals. It's the best of 7. What I want you to do is find your 2 favorite breweries and go buy 6 cans from each of them. Go side by style. Decide who wins and who gets to 4 wins first. You get 6 of them. And then the 7th one, you get a bottle. You get a bomber or something. You get like a 2-year barrel-aged beer from each place.
Oh, look at this
Put
guy.
them up, and you see who fucking wins it. And you name one of them the Bucks, and you name one of them the Suns, and you see what fucking happens. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, man, that's not a bad drinking game. I like it. I'm not gonna hate on that.
I mean, I just thought of it now.
Of course you did.
This is great. I'm not gonna scroll to find what beer is worth drinking. But honestly, go to your breweries and support them. Get some beers. You're gonna have fun.
Find local breweries. There's stuff everywhere. Like there's a lot of good stuff everywhere in California, especially right now.
You could also do hazy versus West Coast. You could do that. The East versus
this is
West.
Perfect because it's East versus West. Yeah, so bring it.
Like which one?
Things.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways you could do the best of 7. I'm just saying, get a best of 7 going. One thing of 7, another thing of 7. See who gets to 4 wins first. Head-to-head matchups. I don't know. I don't care how you do it. If you're going to be like, which ones use Azaka hops? I don't care.
Yeah, you could do even now if you just want to put single hops against each other. There's so many ways to do it.
Yeah,
we might even do a live. We might do a live Instagram for this and just maybe do one. Do 1 and 2.
One run of 7 beers against
during
each
the
other.
Games. Yeah. It might be really fun.
We might drink 14 beers in a night.
Beers. That's right.
But we also might only drink 8 beers in a night because it could be a 4-0 sweep. That's entirely possible.
It's totally possible by all of these teams, and we could then be talking about that forever.
We won't be talking about anything. Our mouths will barely work.
We'll just be mumbling about everything. Yeah. Oh, man. But that would be fun. So, yeah, we should do an Instagram Live.
Steve Nash never won a championship. You remember when he went to the Lakers and they thought he was going to be...
He had the worst hair, man. God, Dwight Howard. Get it right. Put a rubber band on that thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarities between Steve Nash and the Suns now because... Booker smashed his face too.
Doesn't he wish he coached the Suns now instead of the Nets? What an idiot!
Yeah. Oh, you know who else is
Kevin Durant? He's trash.
Speaking of Kevin's, you know who else? The Suns is the mayor of Sacramento tie-in. Kevin
loves Sacramento.
He's silent on a lot of business.
And that will be our Instagram Live where we have 18 beers live in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Exactly. Like, who won? I can't taste anything. I think it's a tie. Are those allowed in basketball? We're going to overtime.
Is that what that tastes? It's like, yeah, my tongue tastes like cotton too. That's great. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm calling into work for the next week. All right. No, we've gone far too long, Phil. We need to get out of here.
I think we probably have. Oh, man.
We'll never agree. Suns in We're 5. I said it.
Bucks in 7.
Oh, boy. You're the worst. That's
good
such
Lord.
A
Could I be worse, Stephen A. Smith?
The
good
Lord.
Pick. I know. It's so terrible.
We are dealing with injuries.
I feel disgusting saying it, but... Yeah, I think there's a real chance. But yeah, at least I want to see 7 games, of course. Because
I would love to see 7 games of this series, honestly. I would be down for that.
Yeah, I mean, these teams, again, I don't think we're going to know based on one win one way or the other. We're going to be like, that team could easily lose by 20 the next time.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be surprised. So it's like, it's going to take... The one thing Charles Barkley says that I will always agree with is that a 7-game series tells you who the best team really is.
It really does.
It really does. There's no argument.
A 5-game doesn't,
it's like
and we know that demonstrably.
No, yes, exactly. We know you can get lucky in 3 games. Like that's where they
That
finally
fourth is
got
the
it right.
problem.
Baseball hasn't got it right. Yes, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, and then how you do it with the traveling. Is it 2 and 2 and 1? Do you do 2 1 1 2? Like, you know.
Oh,
so
remember they did that? It was
they
like
just
2
messed
3
it up.
2. They tried that.
Yeah,
How
remember
unfair
that?
was that?
That was such an idiotic move.
2
They're
2
like,
1 1
then
1.
The guy gets 3 in a row. Yeah, but I'm down 0-2, so I
Yeah.
gotta win 3 straight.
Or
Like,
I'm
get
up.
outta here.
We're tied 1-1, and I'm going home to 3 games. Come on, I'm guaranteed to win this thing. But yeah, we need to get out of here. So tune in
Yes.
next time after this series is over.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do maybe if it's tied 2-2, we'll come back and do something and try to pick who we think.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we gotta get it. We'll do an Instagram. Yeah, we'll figure
We'll
out a
do something.
day.
You'll see us.
What game?
Wait, we have an
playing, and we'll
Instagram,
make it
Phil. Where
work,
can
yeah.
we find us on Instagram?
Oh my God! On Instagram, we're at Please Dunk Responsibly on Instagram. Exactly.
Definitely follow that.
And where can you find us on Twitter?
Oh my God, you'd never believe it, but it's not Please Dunk Responsibly. That's that Please
It's
Dunk
not.
Pod. It's PLZ Dunk Pod. And you know who loves Please Dunk Responsibly on Instagram, but not on Twitter? It's Horace Grant.
Horace Grant. What a shout out. I
What a
love
guy.
that. Like, what a
Come.
guy to. And then the love. I mean, you were right. Like, you pulled him out of thin air. Who could put him and Reggie Jackson together but you? And the fact that he was willing to come back at you and be like, yeah, you know what? You got a point,
Yeah,
but I respect
if he was
that.
wearing my
Now
glasses,
he
he'd have scored
plays.
45. That was a classy
Right.
answer.
That was great. That was fantastic. So I'm so happy for us. I'm so happy for you that he responded back. I totally geeked out, and yeah.
Yeah, and now I'll never learn my lesson, and I will continue to just make obnoxious posts. And I'm like,
No.
it worked one
Now
time.
that does
It'll work
nothing but
again.
fuel the fire.
Yeah.
That fuels the fire
Yeah.
immediately.
So stupid. But yeah, and then of course you could follow me. I'm Ben Rice, one of the hosts here at Please Dunk Responsibly across social media, Barley Me Pod. Where can they find you, Phil?
Also on Instagram at Culinary Lando and Chef Sportsman on Twitter. I also do all the same kind of stuff. I've been like focusing more on basketball and sports lately instead of food as much, but I'm trying to bring it back again. But we do it all. We do it all here, and we have a good time. So it's great. Can't wait for the NBA Finals to start.
Yep,
Let's
on
do it,
Tuesday.
man.
Yeah, so that's it for us. So at the end of the episode, I'm Ben Rice,
And I'm Phil Webster.
reminding you to
Please
dunk
responsibly.
responsibly.